Brazil's journey toward naval autonomy has reached a decisive milestone with the MANSUP anti-ship missile entering fleet integration in 2025. What was once an ambitious concept has now become a tangible element of Brazil's maritime defense architecture, and more importantly, a statement of technological confidence. This transformation is not merely about having another missile. It is about having a domestic missile, rooted in Brazilian engineering, optimized for Brazilian naval doctrine, and deployed to defend Brazilian waters. In many ways, MANSUP is the maritime equivalent of the Embraer C390 or the A29 Super Tucano, proof that Brazil does not just adopt technology, but creates it. The Brazilian Navy's strategic backdrop sets the stage for why this missile matters. Brazil's exclusive economic zone, often referred to as the Amazonia Azul, covers an area larger than the Amazon rainforest itself. Within this maritime territory lies critical infrastructure, offshore platforms, oil extraction fields, fisheries, and major commercial shipping routes. Historically, Brazil relied on imported missiles such as the French Exocet MM-40. These were reliable, proven, and widely used worldwide, but they were not Brazilian. The dependence on foreign suppliers meant limitations in modernization cycles, spare parts sovereignty, software access, and export licensing. MANSUP changes this balance. It implies that Brazil can control its own upgrade cycles, adapt software and guidance logic without seeking external permission, and explore international missile markets as a supplier rather than a buyer. The development path of MANSUP itself is a Brazilian story of persistence. Initial work began in the early 2010s, involving a network of national defense firms including Avibras, Omnisys, and later SIAT, with the Brazilian Navy acting as both sponsor and technical authority. The first test shots in 2018 and 2019 validated structural integrity, propulsion, and primary guidance. Over the subsequent years, the test campaigns became more refined, involving real trajectory shots, live seekers, and sea-skimming approach patterns against real or simulated targets. By 2024, the missile demonstrated operational accuracy during multiple test firings. Many countries test anti-ship missiles under ideal conditions. Brazil, however, tested them across diverse environmental conditions, from calm waters to turbulent Atlantic airflow, building robustness into the missile's design philosophy. Where MANSUP truly begins to change the strategic landscape is in deployment flexibility. The missile was initially conceived for launch from naval vessels, particularly the new generation of Tamandare-class frigates. These ships, with advanced radar, improved signature reduction, and modern combat management systems, provide an ideal firing platform. But Brazil went a step further. In late 2024, the Navy successfully test-fired MANSUP from a coastal mobile launcher operated by the Marine Corps, effectively turning the missile into a dual-role system, ship-launched and land-launched. This dramatically expands operational options. Instead of being limited to naval presence near a target, Brazil can establish concealed launch zones along hundreds of kilometers of coastline, forcing any hostile naval vessel to respect a standoff radius extending outward from the shoreline. In practical terms, MANSUP has become both a naval weapon and an instrument of territorial coastal defense. As production begins, the first operational batch of 16 missiles has been delivered for fleet integration and crew familiarization. While 16 may seem like a modest number, this phase is crucial. This is where doctrine is written. This is where ships' crews train, where maintenance protocols are refined, and where realistic live-fire exercises shape final configurations. After this stage, mass production will scale. The transition mirrors other Brazilian defense programs: modest initial production, followed by accelerated serial manufacturing once feedback cycles are stabilized. Another layer of the story concerns the industrial ecosystem being built around MANSUP. The strategic partnership between SITE and the United Arab Emirates Edge Group accelerates the program's financial and technological momentum. It represents an international vote of confidence. But control remains Brazilian in design, guidance logic, and core intellectual property. This partnership is not a transfer of sovereignty. It is a multiplier of manufacturing capability and export potential. Already, there is interest in offering MANSUP as a competitive alternative for navies in Latin America, the Middle East, and Africa, particularly for fleets that seek effective anti-ship capability without the premium procurement costs associated with major Western suppliers. The collaboration with the Turkish firm Kale for the KTJ-3200 turbojet engine in the long-range variant shows a pragmatic approach to technology sourcing. Where Brazil does not yet have domestic engines of that class, it partners rather than waits. At the same time, the long-term trajectory clearly points toward eventual internal Brazilian propulsion manufacturing for future missile generations. Looking forward, the MANSUP ER extended range variant is where the Brazilian missile program becomes strategically transformative. With expected reach out to 200 kilometers and an optimized flight profile, it will allow Brazil to hold adversary surface vessels at distances well beyond the horizon. When integrated with airborne targeting sensors such as helicopters, maritime patrol aircraft, or even UAVs, the missile becomes part of a distributed kill network. This is how modern navies fight, not with one platform acting alone, but with layers of sensors and shooters that work together. From a regional perspective, Brazil's mastery of its own anti-ship missile capability reshapes naval balance in South America. No other navy in the region currently fields a domestically designed and manufactured anti-ship missile. This positions Brazil uniquely as a defense innovation hub south of the equator. The implications extend beyond deterrence. Brazil can now offer missile technology under controlled export frameworks to trusted partners. In doing so, it elevates itself as a technology-providing nation rather than a technology-receiving one. Yet this program is not without demands. To maintain momentum, Brazil must ensure continuous funding, stable manufacturing supply chains, and long-term retention of technical talent. Integration with the Tamandare-class frigates must be followed by integration with other platforms. An operational doctrine must evolve so that crews can use the missile not merely as a point weapon, but as part of a wider strategic toolkit. Ultimately, the story of MANSUP is not a tale of a missile. It is a tale of national capability. It reflects how Brazil sees its future, as a maritime nation capable of securing its waters, its resources, and its economic lifelines through technologies built at home. As the missile begins to enter operational readiness and fleet deployments, the Brazilian audience should recognize the significance of this achievement. This is sea power in national color. This is technological independence made real. And this is a clear message that in the decades to come, the security of Amazonia Azul will be guaranteed not only by Brazilian ships and Brazilian sailors, but also by Brazilian-made weapons under Brazilian control. If this kind of strategic analysis interests you, stay with the channel, support the content, and join the discussion on which platforms you believe MANSUP should be prioritized for operational deployment as Brazil continues its rise as a sovereign maritime power.